I, in a lot of ways, look at LinkedIn as the 724 365 conference that really just is always going on, and you get to pick and choose who you participate with, depending on who you connect with and who you follow. And that reminds me too, I think about a month or two back, I saw you shared some really interesting advice on how to approach LinkedIn social selling and the social selling index, and how you were working on this with your team. Is that advice that you think would be applicable not just to your sales team, but to people that essentially are taking a proactive role in defining their career futures?
Yes, definitely. Well, so there's two problems there, right? One is if you want to pivot to a new job, and second, if you want to find a new leads. So LinkedIn has a very broad tools about to solve both these problems. So to find a new job, you can just use a standard LinkedIn function, to look at the network. You can use a search function, look for data center industries, and look for different companies. And you can dive deeper, so you can search who are the people in that companies, and you can look into their posts and their concern. I think if you have premium function, you can also get more in depth into to know what they are looking for. And to the second portion of your question is how to address it for the salespeople, right? For the salespeople, I think LinkedIn now has a sales navigator tool, which is a good bonus if you need to analyze what is available in the market, what is their buying trend, and what is their buying interest. So I would say it's you really need to put your time. I mean, LinkedIn is a tool again, yeah. It's only as good as when you use it. So you really need to put the time and effort to dive deeper into the network, to get the understanding. I mean, I don't mean to be to sound like a stalker here, but when I just graduated and I was looking for a job, I sent like hundreds and hundreds of messages to different people to understand what is their concern, what is their problem, and how I can help them. Repeating myself like hundreds of times to tell them what do I do, what is my skill set, and at the beginning I don't even know how I can fit in, so I just tell them what I can do. And slowly with time, I started to learn on what is the problem and challenges on hand, and try to fit in the skill set that I have to that role. In sales, I will say that LinkedIn is a good tool to network, to get to know people. I've sent a lot of messages to them and get connection with them, and get a meeting with them. I think I've set up several meetings throughout my career here, which leads to an opportunities. So it's a good tools for you, for salespeople to understand what is the buyer markets looks like, and who is the decision makers. And because it's clearly stated, right? Okay, this role is CEO, this role is CFO. So you need to craft your message accordingly to address their concern. I hope this addressed your question, Joshua.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it actually, as you were talking through that, it struck me how many parallels there are between being a SDR, a sales development or business development rep, and actually prospecting for your own career, building kind of like a pipeline, right?
Yeah. It's either you sell yourself or you sell your company products.
I sometimes get people that ask me too, well, what if they're not on LinkedIn? I'm like, well, we're fortunately, because of the nature of what we do, nearly all internal champions are on LinkedIn, and they're probably not going to be a very effective internal champion at this stage in the 2020s if they're very resistant to having their professional network. It's the super interesting part about LinkedIn is not only when you're doing research on leads and trying to figure out what's going on in an account by looking at LinkedIn profiles for multiple people in that account, you not only know how they describe themselves, you know all of the content that they're sharing and they're interacting with. So you're able to kind of tell these signals on exactly what they said. And then you're also able to infer a lot based on the kinds of content that they're showing interest on for tailoring and customizing your approach with all that. So yeah, it's tremendously. And they always say, like with LinkedIn, when somebody gets a new job, the first person you tell is your spouse, your significant other, and the second person you tell is LinkedIn. And that's how you know that LinkedIn is always covered, because that's one of the big banes of existence for people in sales that do outbound prospecting when they're looking at Zoom Info and the half a dozen other databases that are in that platform, is how current is it going to be. LinkedIn, for whatever reason, with its billion members, has gotten people really, really used to keeping their profiles and their jobs super current. Sometimes I see people that don't close out jobs when they leave and go to another opportunity, but for most people in these roles, it tends to be very, very up to date. And that helps a lot.
Yes. I think, I mean, I do know several people that still doesn't have LinkedIn because of restriction of the company, but if you don't have that, you should have LinkedIn. That's the first thing you need to have when you even just started your career, to learn about other people and put yourself out there, put yourself in the network, put yourself in the headhunter network, and then really learn about the industry itself. Use the, I mean, if you just started, you probably know a lot about what your teacher tell you, but likely it's very theoretical, and you need to apply that, to translate that information to what the industry needs. So you need to have a lot of creative thinking, but you really need to put your time to understand your network to do that.
Yeah, I mean,